Fashion Week is returning to Pokemon Go, featuring some very rare costume Pokemon. And in this video, I will be going through all of the details and tips to help you make the most of this event. So the event does run from January 10th at 10 AM until the 19th at 8 PM local time. But what exactly does this event have to offer? So as you have seen from the official graphic for Fashion Week, fashionable Minccino and Cinccino will be making their debut, but they will unfortunately be locked to raids. But more on this later. However, we do actually have some pretty decent bonuses available during this event. There will be 2x catch Stardust, 2x chance for Candy XL for trainers level 31+. You'll have an increased chance to encounter shiny fashionable Curlier in the wild, and you'll have an increased chance to encounter shiny fashionable Butterfree, Dragonite, Minccino, and regular Furfrou from field research rewards and from raids. I'm not exactly sure how boosted these shiny rates will be, but they are often in the region of 1 in 64 or 1 in 128 for these type of events. There will be a $5 research available that will get you 3500 XP, 3500 Stardust, an event-themed avatar pose, and encounters with fashionable Dragonite, Minccino, and regular Furfrou. New avatar items will be available in the in-game shop. There will be collection challenges rewarding XP and an encounter with fashionable Shinx, and there'll be Pokestop showcases to look out for during the event. But what about the wild encounters? So in the wild, you will be able to encounter Skitty, Baneri, Furfrou, Bruxish, fashionable Diglett, fashionable Blitzel, and rarely fashionable Curlier. And out of these, only the fashionable Curlier will have boosted shiny rates in the wild. For the raids, in 1-star raids will be Furfrou, fashionable Shinx, and fashionable Minccino. And in 3-star raids will be fashionable Butterfree and fashionable Dragonite. In 5-star raids will be Palkia up until the 16th at 10 AM, when Deoxys in its attack and defense form will then take over. In Mega raids will be Mega Lopunny up until the 16th at 10 AM, where Mega Gallade will then take over. And in 5-star Shadow raids will be Shadow Registeel on Saturdays and Sundays only. There will also be field research tasks that will get you XP, Stardust, and encounters with some event-themed Pokemon. But which of the event Pokemon are most worth focusing on? Just before I get into that, I do want to quickly mention that there will be other events going on during Fashion Week. First, on the 11th will be a Mega Raid Day, which will debut Mega Gallade. And this will feature increased amounts of Mega Gallade raids, increased shiny rates for Gallade of 1 in 10, you'll get 5 additional free raid passes from spinning gyms, and the remote raid limit will increase to 20. But I will have a video up on the channel dedicated to that event, so keep an eye out for that. And on top of that, there will be a Team Go Rocket takeover during Fashion Week from the 15th to the 19th. And this will most likely feature a new Shadow Legendary for Giovanni. You'll be able to remove frustration from your Shadow Pokemon, and there'll be increased Team Rocket presence at Pokestops and in balloons. And lastly, there will be a Shadow Raid Day on the 19th, but it hasn't been announced which Pokemon will feature for it yet, but hopefully it's something like Shadow Groudon or Shadow Kyogre. And with that said, which Fashion Week Pokemon are most worth focusing on? Firstly, it does go without saying that pretty much any of the costume Pokemon are worth going after for the shinies, and even though some of them are likely to return in a future Fashion Week, sometimes these costume Pokemon don't return for a few years or so now is a great time to hunt them if you want them. But there are some even rarer variants of these costume Pokemon that could be available later on in Fashion Week. So when the Rocket Takeover begins on the 15th, there will be a new rotation of Shadow Pokemon available from Rocket Grunts and Leaders. And if any of the Pokemon available from Grunts or Leaders are those that are in costumes for Fashion Week, then the Shadow versions should also have costumes. So for a collector, these are pretty rare and definitely worth hunting. However, we won't know which Shadow Pokemon will be available until the Rocket Takeover starts, but it is something to bear in mind. For the wild encounters though, none of them really have much meta relevance. Baneri is kinda relevant in the fact that Mega Lopunny is the 12th best fighting type attacker, but if you do have access to fighting type Megas like Gallade, Blaziken, Heracross, or Lucario, then there isn't really much point trying to hunt a good IV Baneri for this. But if you don't have anything better, then this is an option. It's worth noting that Mega Lopunny will also be in Mega Raids during the first half of this event, so you will be able to get Mega Energy for it if you wanted to. Curlier is worth picking up as well because the candy will be useful for Mega Gardevoir and Mega Gallade. However, it is worth noting though that this Curlier can't currently evolve, and it might never be able to. For the raids, Shinx will be available in 1-star raids, and again, this costume Pokemon can't evolve. However, it could be worth getting some candy to power up a Shadow Luxray if you have one, because Shadow Luxray is the 12th best electric type attacker. Furfrou doesn't have any meta relevance, but it does have a lot of different forms to collect, and some are regional. So it's worth picking up some Furfrou so you have them ready to form change, and also you will need the candy to form change as well. Furfrou will also have boosted shiny rates in raids as well, so if you want to collect the different forms as shinies, it's a good chance to try and get them. One of the better Pokemon available during this event will be fashionable Dragonite. It is, however, only available in raids, but worth picking up because Dragonite is the 23rd best dragon type attacker, and as a shadow it is the 9th best, so the candy will be very useful for powering up a shadow if you've got one. It is also ranked 82 in the Ultra League as a shadow with 0, 13, 15 IVs, but more importantly, it is a good Pokemon to pick up for the Master League because it is ranked 17 and ranked 20 as a shadow. So if you are looking to get into playing Master League, especially because it is more accessible than many of the legendary Pokemon that rank highly in the Master League. And that's not the only Pokemon in raids that I would suggest raiding. We do also have access to Palkia, which is the 16th best Dragon type attacker and the 4th best in the Origin form. In the Master League, it's ranked 13 and ranked 2 in its Origin form. So generally, the Origin form does see more play, especially with the fact that it has access to Legacy move Spatial Rend, which does have an adventure effect that allows you to encounter Pokemon at an increased distance. But there are some reasons why you would still want to raid the altered form of Palkia. Firstly, it does have relevance in the Master League like I mentioned previously, but also the candy is very useful. You see, to use Origin Palkia's Spatial Rend adventure effect, it does cost 5,000 Stardust and 5 Palkia candy to do so for 10 minutes of time. So if you want to take advantage of this effect in Spotlight hours and in community days, then you are going to want to have as much Palkia candy as you can, so you don't have to rely too much on rare candy. So for this, it's definitely worth raiding Palkia whenever you can. And also, if you can, Shadow Registeel will be worth raiding because in its regular or purified form, it is ranked 57 in the Great League with 2, 13, 14 IVs, and it's ranked 9 in the Ultra League with 1, 10, 15 IVs. Mega Gallade will also be available first in a raid day on the 11th, but also in Mega Raids from the 16th, and it is the 18th best Fighting type attacker and the 5th best Psychic type attacker, so definitely not a bad Mega to have. Gallade itself is also decent in Go Battle League, where it is ranked 51 in its Shadow form in the Great League with 0, 15, 15 IVs, and it's ranked 106 in the Ultra League with 0, 12, 15 IVs. And when you decide on which Pokemon to focus on, how can you maximize candy for them? So there is a 2x chance for Candy XL bonus available throughout this event, so it's generally a really good time to try and catch as many of the Pokemon you want Candy XL on. However, there are other ways you can further improve your candy gains. You can also use Pinat Berries to double the amount of candy you get per catch, and you can Mega Evolve a Pokemon that shares a type with the Pokemon you're catching to increase the amount of candy, Candy XL, and XP you get per catch. This event, however, does feature a lot of different types of Pokemon, but if you wanted the most coverage, I would recommend Mega Evolving a normal type like Pidgeot, Kangaskhan, or Lopunny to cover all of the normal type Pokemon available. However, they don't really have much meta relevance, so I would suggest Mega Evolving a Dragon type like Charizard X, Ampharos, Sceptile, Altaria, Salamence, Latios, Latias, Garchomp, or Rayquaza, so you can get more candy in Candy XL for Dragonite and Palkia. Also, remember to Mega Evolve a Pokemon that is at the max Mega level, so you can get more candy, XP, and chance for Candy XL. And as well as candy, you will want some Stardust, and there are actually a few ways you can maximize Stardust for this event. Firstly, you will have access to 2x catch Stardust for the duration of the event, so you will be getting 200 Stardust per catch minimum. However, you can increase this further by using Star Pieces, which will get you 300 Stardust per catch, and also Weather Boosts will increase this. So it's definitely not a bad time to be using Star Pieces, but if you are limited on them, I would save them for 3x or 4x catch Stardust bonuses that will come in the future. This could also be a good opportunity to use Origin Palkia's Spatial Rend adventure effect to extend the encounter radius, making it easier for you to reach Pokemon that you couldn't otherwise. This can help you catch more in a given area, and it will get you more Stardust. And whilst there won't be any XP bonuses, entering Pokestop showcases is a good way to get a bit of free XP and Stardust just for taking part. And if you do happen to win, which is going to be a lot easier in rural areas, then you might get some lucky eggs and star pieces that you can then use to get more XP and Stardust. And as it does require 35 platinum medals to get to level 49, here are some medals that you can focus on during this event in particular. With the new fashionable Minccino being available in raids, and some other useful Pokemon like Dragonite and Palkia, it could be worth using your 2 free raid passes per day to work on your Rising Star, Champion, and Battle Legend medals. And with event themed Pokestop showcases being available, it might be worth doing some of these to potentially progress your showcase's star medal, which is the only way you can get an encounter with PhD Pikachu currently. And with that said, if you did enjoy this video, then I recommend checking out these videos on the screen now, and I'll catch you in the next one.